Okay, so thank you very much. Just let me give some introduction about myself. Okay, I'm Rahul Mahesh. I'm a certified trainer in SAP S4HANA. So, the coming about my experience about all those things. Okay, so I'm working out from past 14 years in the real-time world of SAP. So I had done from the past few years. Okay, if you go back to 3 years back, 4 years back, okay, about from SAP S4HANA 1511 release. So we all know that SAP S4HANA came out with the release of 1511, that is 1511. So I started implementing my first project in SAP S4HANA implementation. I started with 1511. Okay, that is in 2016. That is in the 2016. So okay, so I have been certified in all the professionals and associate levels. And when coming about to my experience side, I had done the SAP implementations in SAP S4HANA, and by the God grace, I got a lot of many opportunities in doing the work of migration projects, migration conversion. Migration and conversion both are different actually. So we always should be called it as a conversion project. Conversion means from SAP ECC application to SAP S4HANA application. So what are the roles of the financial consultants are going to be done? So when we are going to do the conversion from ECC to SAP S4HANA, so what are your responsibilities? So it is mostly from the technical, but when you come to the functional, so your FICOs are going to play the major role. So what are the activities you have to do before the conversion and after the post conversion? What are the activities you have to do? And okay, so at what time you are going to be handovering the server to the users to do the day-to-day transaction posting? So conversions, I've done about 6 to 7 conversions in my career. And there is one more important thing is called as a central finance. Central finance is nothing but where we are going to be calling it as a sidecar approach. Sidecar approach. So 2 central finance projects have been done. So second one is continuously going on. So we are going to be go live in the month of December. Okay. So this is about the experience that I'm putting about the high level because already I given some introduction in my demo. When I taken the demo, you can go through the demo slides. Okay, so there I given a lot of introduction about myself over there. So this is okay. So where you see the course curriculum which I'm going to be showing over here, this is what exactly the topics which we are going to be running for the next coming days. So the classes will be on 2 releases. The classes will be on 2 releases. One is 1809 and the second one is 1909. So these are the 2 SAP S4HANA on-premise releases. These are the 2 SAP S4HANA on-premise releases. So if I go into the SAP S4HANA, we all know that SAP S4HANA has came out with the release of 1511. The first SAP S4HANA release has came out with 1511. 1511 is the SAP S4HANA release. SAP S4HANA. It is for the both cloud. It is for the both cloud and on-premise. I'll tell you what is the difference between cloud and on-premise also. It is for the both cloud and on-premise release. The first SAP S4HANA 15, the core release, we can call it as the SAP core. We call it as the S4 core or S4 SAP core. Okay, the first SAP core has come out with 100. The core is nothing but your application. Core is nothing but your application. Actually, we call it as an application core. So normally, if we go back to the SAP ECC, we call it as SAP ECC 6.0. With okay, so we can see 6.0, 6.1, 6.2, 6.4, 6.16, 6.17. We can see some course application here also. For every core application of your SAP S4HANA, when you come to the on-premise, we can see that core is going to be running on 100. 100 is nothing but where your server has been resided, means your application has been installed with a core application of 1511. So if I show here, see you can see here. I can show here. For example, this is my SAP ECC server, and below you can see here there is a 1909 server is also there. 1909 server is also there. So there are 2 servers are there. One is running on completely on SAP ECC, and the second one is running on the complete SAP S4HANA on-premise. This is not a cloud. There are 2 cloud versions are there. One is called as the private cloud, another one is called as the public cloud. I'll explain more detailedly about all those things in the coming class. Okay. So how do I identify? So when you come to the SAP S4HANA on-premise, when you come to the SAP S4HANA on-premise, SAP S4HANA on-premise is completely running on your ERP application only. Okay, SAP S4HANA on-premise is completely running on your ERP application. So mean to say that, so cloud is running on SaaS, that is SaaS cloud application, and your SAP S4HANA application is completely running on the same ERP application, which is very example of the replica of your SAP ECC. So if I go into the structure, so let me go into the, okay, so I'll just logging into the SAP ECC. This is my SAP ECC. ECC, we all know that SAP ECC has come out in 2002. Okay, so 2004, sorry, 2004. One second, maybe. Okay, this is my SAP ECC. Now I'll go to the SAP S4HANA. I'll go to the SAP S4HANA. Now I'm logging to the SAP S4HANA server. So I'm just giving the credentials. This is 1901, and I'll tell you what is 1901 and everything. Okay, so I'm going to discuss more into detail way. So first 6 to 7 classes will be on the SAP S4 HANA and the HANA database only. If you see here both, both are standing on the same application. So if you see here, this is my SAP ECC and this is called as my SAP S4 HANA. So when I come to the SAP ECC, when I come to this is on-premise, we call it as the SAP ECC and SAP S4 HANA on-premise system. So how do I identify? How do I identify whether we are logging to the SAP ECC or SAP S4 HANA? So if I go into the systems from the menu bar, if you see the systems over the menu bar, and if I click onto the status over here, now you can see over here. So this is called as the product versions. We can call it as the components which have been installed. Okay. So when I click on the components, and here you can see here, and here you can see here your SAP Finance. If you come to the SAP Finance and SAP APLL, okay, whatever maybe. Okay. So here, if you see here, your application is on the release version called as 16.6.18. Okay, this is the latest one actually, which is running in the market. I'm meant to say that this is the latest SAP ECC 6.18 actually. Now you are into the service level package, so service level support package. We are going to be running on 008. Okay, this is what exactly we can call it as service level package. So this is a completely ECC system. This is not an SAP S4 HANA system over here. Now, when I go into the SAP S4 HANA, when I click onto the same, so it's just a conversion. It's just a conversion from your SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA. So earlier, your ECC application has been resided on the top of any database. But today, my SAP S4 HANA application, which we call it as the new next generation business suite application, which is resided on the in-memory database, we call it as the SAP HANA database. So what I would like to say here is see. So same box, same server, same box. Okay, just I'm taking the license of SAP S1. This is my SAP business suite. We call it as SAP business suite. And here we call it as SAP S4 HANA. The names are different. The names are different over here, but how we have to distinguish here. Okay, so when I call it as the SAP business suite, always we call the business suite as a middle layer application. We call it as the middle layer is always called as your SAP business suite. Means we call it as the application. This is what exactly I'm talking about here. So we call it as the SAP ECC application, which is running on ECC 6.0 or something, whatever maybe the version we are going to learn. Okay, this is what exactly we call it as a SAP business suite. We call it as a business suite. The core application is running on your ECC application. The core application we are running on your ECC, and the underlying database is going to be any database. I can call it as any database. Either you can take DBMS or either you can take RDBMS, or you can take the Oracle, or you can take the Microsoft database. It doesn't matter anything, because our ECC application can be stapled on any other database. We call it as a secondary access device. Normally, in our SAP terminology, when you come to the technology, so when we use the terminology, so this is called as secondary access device. We call it as the secondary access device. Why? Because earlier, our ECC application can be built on any other databases. This is not particular to one database either. So we can use only Oracle database, or we can use only DBMS or RDBMS or Microsoft database. Doesn't matter. Any database can be supported. So we call it as a secondary access device. Now, when you come to the SAP S/4HANA, the same architecture, there is no change in the R3 architecture. The same architecture I'm putting over here. The architecture doesn't changes here because we are talking about the on-premise. We are talking about the on-premise. We are not talking about the cloud. Here also, when you come to here, my 3-layer application means my 3-tier application. So when you come over here, so I see that there is a change at the application level. I'm coming to the next generation business suite, which we call it as S4 core. We call it as the S4 core application. We are running on to the S4 core application. Either this application is on 100, either your application is on 101, either your application is on 102, either your application is on 104 or 103. So you can see here, these are the core application process which we are running. Yes, we call SAP S/4HANA on-premise 15.11. That is called as your release version. SAP S/4HANA on-premise 16.10. That is the next generation. That is the next release version. SAP S/4HANA 17.09. 18.09. Today we are calling it as the 19.1, and those are going to be called as a release process. Release, that is going to be called as release numbers. But when you come to the application core level, we can see that if your core application is running on 100, means it is the 15.11. Please, very, very important, my dear friends, 15.11. If your core application is running on 101, means it is a 16.10. If your core application is running on with 102, it is going to be called as 17.09. And if your core application is running on with 18.09, it is called as 103. And today we are running on with 19.01, and which is the latest one in the market. Okay, so which is called as 104. Now, if I go into the SAP, if I go into the SAP, still if I go into the server, so I am into the SAP S/4HANA system. And if I click on to the status, and here you can see here, and here you can see here, as I told you that the underlying database always should be your HDB only. HDB is nothing but you call it as the SAP HANA database. We call it as the SAP HANA database. So if you go back to my, if I go back to my previous screen, as I told you that your core application will be built on the in-memory database, which is called as SAP HANA database only. No other databases can be supported for your SAP S/4HANA application, except HANA database, which has been introduced in the year of 2011. 2011 is the year. 2011 is the year where we see the SAP has come out with its own database called as SAP HANA database, where we have nomenclature it as in memory DB. What is the in-memory DB? We'll discuss. Every class will have a more detailed level of explanation about all this. So 2011, we came out with SAP as a HANA database with our new database approach, where we can have our own database system, where we have nomenclature it as SAP in-memory database. In-memory database. So when I transited from 2011, when I got my SAP HANA as a database, so most of the clients has got about the awareness about the importance of the in-memory database, and they started transiting the databases from the any database to SAP HANA database. Means the advantages, when you talk about the advantages from the any database, normally still yesterday I am using the Oracle database. Today I want to go with SAP HANA database. So why do you want to migrate? See the words I'm using, migrate. So here I'm going to be using the word called as a hello. Hello. Okay.
Your voice keeps breaking up. It cuts out.
My voice.
Hello.
Is it the same to everybody? My voice, you're experiencing the voice breaking from my side?
No, I think I can hear you very well.
I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well, but I really appreciate if you can talk a little slow.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Okay, so just I'm extremely sorry for that. I take it as a slow process. Okay, so thank you. Keeping in consideration. Okay, so when you see here, there are two things we need to understand. One is conversion and the second one is migration. Conversion is a process where your ECC central component is getting converted to the new application process, which we call it as the SAP S4HANA S4 core application. We call it as a conversion, not migration, please. Very, very important. So this word we can call it as a conversion. Conversion is the process where you're converting your ECC central application to your SAP S4HANA application. We call it as the next generation business suite. The second point, we need to talk about the database. The second point, we need to talk about the database. So when we talk about the database, when an existing customer, when we call it as an existing customer means already this customer has been resided with your ECC application. They have implemented SAP ECC with any other databases. Now the same customer, existing customer, they want to start the deployment option, means they want to transit the scenario with SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA. So now if I want to move the database from the Oracle database to the SAP HANA database, we call it as a migration. Very, very important. This is called as a DB migration. We call it as a DB migration. So both are going to be serving as a different purpose, my dear friend. Conversion is a separate process and the DB migration is a separate process. So now I have a doubt over here. Now when I want to take a journey with SAP S4HANA, okay, right? I want to take a start journey with SAP S4HANA. Forget about what versions we are going to. Either it is the 15.11, 16.10, 18.1 and 19.1. Forget about all this. Just I'm giving SAP S4HANA as an ending over here. Now, there are two things we need to understand. One is a new customer. New customer. And the second one, I'm going to be taking existing. My dear friends, I'm telling once again, all the classes which we are going to be taking as an introduction part of SAP HANA database and SAP S4HANA. Before we start the financial classes, 6 to 7 classes I'm going to be taking complete on the deeper level of the classes on SAP S4HANA and SAP HANA. I'm talking, this is the weightage of 12% of your certification questions. 12% of your certificate, 8 to 12% of the certification questions are coming from today's class to next 8 classes, 6 to 7 classes will be there. So these all classes will be at the weightage of 12% on your certification, I'm telling. So it is not only, so don't see the classes from the certification point of view. I'm telling from this point, I just want to convey to all of you, don't get into the certification, just go through the classes that we are having over the real-time experience over here. So a certification will be just like a cakewalk. I'm telling, once you completed your syllabus, the next day you can go and apply for your certification. I'm telling you will not get less than 85 to 90%. I'm telling you, it's 100%. Otherwise, I'll return your fees back from my side. So don't bother about your certification. I'm telling certification will be just like a cakewalk for you. So without any preparation, if you go through my classes, the next day you can go and attempt your certification. But the classes, what I'm going to be taking over here, this is completely based on your real time. Means what exactly means to be the real time is nothing but once you're done your syllabus, directly on the next day, you can go and assign yourself to any project so that you will have a confidence in a level that, okay, you can do the project without any assistance of your any senior consultants or any other body. So directly you can take your role as an SAP S4HANA consultant for doing SAP S4HANA projects. So I'll make you to the people like that. So only one thing is nothing but just go through my videos and understand the process, what we have been done, and come out with the doubts so that more and more doubts. So you'll be clarifying your doubts so that you'll be having a confidence. So I'm building a confidence in you so that, okay, so whenever been assigned to any projects in SAP S4HANA independently without any support of your senior consultant, you can handle your project from the SAP S4HANA finance point of view. So when you talk about your certification, as I told just now that No need to prepare anything about the certification. Just follow my guidelines, just follow my classes about that. And those questions, I'll tell you, this is the certification question, this is the certification question. So make a note of that, and those questions will be appearing in your certification. So I'm telling that not less than 85% people will get in the certification, not less than that. I'm damn sure that, because keeping on my previous experience, I'm telling all those things. Okay, so go through it. Now I'm taking two customers. One is called as a new customer, where he is very new to the SAP world. And the second one, I'm taking about the existing customers. They are already started the journey with SAP ECC or with SAP 4.7 or 4.6, whatever maybe. Those are called as existing customers. Now they want to start the journey with SAP. Okay. Now with SAP S4HANA. So there are three deployment, there are three transitions. One is there are three deployment options I'm going to be giving to you. Okay. One is called as SAP S4HANA on-premise. Okay. And the second one, I'm explaining to you about the cloud. I'm explaining to the customer. And the third one, which is going to be called as hybrid. So these are the three deployment options I'm going to be discussing. One is on-premise deployment, second one is a cloud deployment, and third one is going to be called as a hybrid deployment. So I need to explain all this. Okay, what are the advantages and disadvantages are there between the cloud to the on-premise and everything I need to explain. Then it is up to the customer level. So we are going to give them the demo, and we are going to be handling them as a trial release about 30 days or something like 18 days about the cloud and on-premise. You can go and log into the trial version and see how it is going to be helpful for your business application process, whether the cloud is going to be suited for your business process or whether it is an on-premise release which is going to be suited for your business. So it depends upon your requirement. Anyhow, we are going to be explaining everything, the difference between the cloud and the on-premise. Now it is up to the customer choice whether they want to start the deployment with on-premise or a cloud or a hybrid. Hybrid is nothing but it is a combination of both on-premise and the cloud. Hybrid is the combination of both on-premise and the cloud. So we see there are two innovations are there. One is very important, very important. So we are seeing here that there are two deployments we are going to be seeing. One is from the on-premise level, okay, digital core, and the second one is the digital innovation. My dear friends, by this time you might have heard about the concept of SAP S4HANA digital innovation core applications, like you have gone through IoT, Internet of Things, and you have gone to the machine learning, and you have gone to the artificial intelligence. Okay, this all will come under the digital innovation process in SAP S4HANA. This all will come under the digital innovation process. When you come to the digital core, it is a core application process which is going to be running on SAP S4HANA. I'll tell you what is the digital core and everything. Now we are going to be very much important. Okay, we are going to give very much important to all these three kinds of deployment. One is called as on-premise, second one is called as the cloud, and third one is going to be called as the hybrid. Now, when I talk about the new customer, a new customer, he's a very new to the SAP world, so he can start his journey with SAP S4HANA on-premise or SAP S4HANA cloud or SAP S4HANA hybrid. When he is an existing customer, when you talk a customer who is an existing customer is nothing but already he has started his journey with SAP. Maybe he is into the SAP ECC. Okay, he is an existing customer. Now he wants to start the journey with SAP S4HANA. We call it as a next generation business suite. We call it as a next generation business suite. Why the name the next generation business suite has come, we'll explain in the coming classes. Now he has only one option. If he want to start the journey, I will tell you that without any new application, directly he can go and do the conversion of SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA on-premise only. Existing customers can only go with on-premise. Existing ECC customers, they can't start the journey with clouds, either they cannot start the journey with hybrid. Very, very important. This is very, very important. They have only the conversion from the SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA on-premise. They don't have the conversion. They don't have the conversion process to either to the cloud or to the hybrid. Very, very important. So this is a very, very important point. So if I'm an existing customer, I'm running on my SAP with SAP ECC from past 8 years or 9 years. Now I want to start the journey with SAP S/4HANA world. So can I not go to the cloud? Can I not go to the hybrid? No, because cloud, as I told you that when you come to the SAP ECC, okay, you are running on to the complete ERP application. Your complete process has been designed based on your ERP application. But when you come to the cloud, your complete application is going to be running on SaaS, which is a very new application process to the cloud. So I cannot deploy, I cannot give the deployment option from SAP ECC to SAP S/4HANA Cloud. You can directly go on to the on-premise because your on-premise is also going to be running on the same process of your ERP. So that is the reason. Now, when I go into the system here, I'm explaining, now I'm showing the difference here. So if I want to start the journey, if I'm into the ECC or into the SAP S/4HANA, so now I can go with an on-premise. Now I take a customer, ECC customer. Now, when I take an ECC customer, this is his R3 architecture. This we can call him as, this is the R3 architecture. This is the R3 architecture, real-time 3-layer architect. We call it as the real-time 3-layer architect. By this time, most of the people have known that. So the middle layer, he is onto the SAP ECC. And the underlying database, when you take about the underlying database is on with Oracle database. Example I'm taking about is the Oracle database. Or you can take any other database except HANA database, Now, he is one of the customer. He has started looking on to the transiting to the SAP S/4HANA on-premise. First thing, the basic thing I need to look out here is nothing but on which database he has been resided. If he has been resided on the Oracle database, then it is a mandatory that first I need to do the DB migration. First, the process here, before you start doing the conversion of your ECC application to SAP S/4HANA core application. So first you have to do the DB migration. DB migration will be done by the tool called as a DMO, Database Migration Optimizer. Database Migration Optimizer. So this is a tool where I'm going to be using the DB migration from your Oracle database to SAP HANA database. Why? Because as I told you that your SAP S/4HANA application will be resided only on the top of your in-memory database only. No other databases can be supported. No other databases can be stapled to your SAP S/4HANA application. Very, 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 very important. Then after the DB migration has been done, so what is that application is going to be called as? Now here, I'm going to be looking like this. Now when I come here, this my application. After you do the DB migration, now this I can call it as SAP Business Suite on HANA. SAP Business Suite on HANA. You can see here the difference here. Three things. First, I call it as SAP Business Suite. Now, after you converted, after you migrated your DB from the Oracle DB to SAP HANA DB, whether you have the same ECC application, I have not done the ECC conversion as of now. Only I have done the DB migration to the Oracle DB to your SAP HANA DB. Now this complete business application, I can call it as SAP Business Suite on HANA. Means what I'm telling here, your business suite means your application had not done anything, means your application will be resided as the same SAP ECC only, your ECC application. But today you are working, today your application has been stapled on newer database called as SAP HANA database. So this complete architect, I can call it as SAP Business Suite on HANA. So people may be asking you the questions. So your current landscape is on Business Suite on HANA, or you're working on SAP S/4HANA, or you're working on with SAP Business Suite. So there are three questions. So you should be very careful in answering the question. If they're talking about SAP Business Suite, means the application has been resided on any other database. If they're talking about Suite on HANA, means they're talking about your ECC application on the SAP HANA database. If they're talking on to the SAP S4 HANA, if they're talking on to the SAP S4 HANA, means now you can see the new conversion, means your ECC has been converted to the new application core process. We call it as S4 core application. Now SAP HANA database has already migrated. Now with the help of some tool, we call it as a SUM, SUM, Software Upgrade Manager. Software Upgrade Manager is the tool provided from the SAP to do the conversion from SAP ECC to SAP S4 HANA. Now you can see here, now your complete R3 architecture. Now when you see the complete core application, your core application is working on with the S4 core, which is the next generation business suite. Earlier your core application is on SAP ECC. Now you can see the S4 core as an application. So when I go into the SAP C here, as I told you that the underlying database always should be your SAP HANA database only. No other databases can be supported. Now in the same process, when I go to the SAP ECC, this is your SAP ECC. Okay, so your database is running on MSQL. It's not an HANA database. It is not an HANA database. It's an MSQL database. But when I go into your application, yes, my application anyhow, as just now we told that your application is running on your SAP ECC. If you see here, your ECC core application is going to be running on your application platform. So this is not my SAP S4 HANA. This is your SAP ECC application, my dear friend. Now, when I step down to the scene, your HANA and your HANA database release is on 2.1. Earlier, there are two releases as of now database, 1.0 HANA and 2.1. Now, currently the new release of SAP HANA database is running on to the new version is called as 2.0 release. Now, if I want to see the product versions, if I click on to the product versions, details. Now, if I click on the installed product versions, if I click on the installed product versions, very, very important here, we need to observe very carefully here. This is called as my SAP S4 HANA on-premise with the 1909 release. You can see the release is going to be working on with the 1909 with the shipment of initial shipment with the SAP S4 HANA 1909, and very, 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 very important over here now. And the front-end server, the Fiori front-end server, which is going to be now earlier, I am going to be using the GUI, graphical user interface as my front-end, which is called as a presentation. Now my presentation server, now my front-end is going to be working on the Fiori based on the new application called as UI5 application for the Fiori. I'll tell you what is the Fiori and everything. We have a classes more. Okay. So we are running on to the release. This is the latest Fiori application we are going to be running called as 6.0. Very, very important. Just all of you, please. It's not a certification, but it is very, very important that you should gain this knowledge, because this is very important when you are approaching to the client or talking something about SAP S4 HANA. This will really help you out. Okay. Now, I'll go to the installed software component versions. I'll go to the, now we are seeing about installed product versions only. Now I'll go to the installed software component. So when you call it as the software component is nothing but your S4 core. Software component is nothing but your S4 core. Here the software component is nothing but your ECC core. Okay. So when I click on to the installed software component versions, here you can see your S4 core, very, very important. The SP level is, okay, service pack level, initial service pack level is running now, which is called as a 00. Further, you can see after next quarter, you can see future service pack 01, future service pack 02 will come. SAP will release after next quarter. Every quarter, they will be releasing your future service pack level. So now the current service pack level is going to be called as 00. You all know that SAP S4 HANA 1909 has been released in the month of September 25th. September 25th or 26th, they have came out with SAP S4 HANA on-premise of 1909. So here you can see the S4 core, which is called as the central application core for your SAP S4 HANA, is on the release called as 104. If it is a 104, means it is called as your 1909. If it is a 104, if it is a 103, means it is the 1809. If it is a 102, it means 1709, and 101 is the 1610, and 100 is nothing but 1511. So nobody can bluff us. Nobody can bluff us. You can have your own knowledge and see whether the system is running on which release of your SAP S4HANA by directly coming on to the system and see whether it is the 104, because this is only the text, my dear friend. This is only the text I can type over here. Description is only talking about the text, but this is not the text. This is what exactly the installed release of your SAP S4 core application. So this cannot bluff us. So you can take as directly as a core. Don't look out anything. Don't look out anything. Just come to the S4 core and see which release we are going to be working. This is called as on-premise release. This is called as SAP S4HANA on-premise release. Now, when I go to the deployment options, so I'm telling to the client, so if you want to convert your ECC system, means ECC core application, you can directly have an option of only on-premise, because directly you cannot convert to the cloud, you cannot convert to the hybrid, because these two systems, because these two deployment options are running on with the two different applications called as SaaS applications. So I cannot convert. If still you want to go with the cloud, hey Rahul, I don't want to go with on-premise. I just want to go with the cloud. I've seen a lot of advantages are there. It is very good suited to my business application. So then I will give you only one option called as implementation. No conversion is possible. So you can go with a greenfield implementation.
Hi Rahul, can I ask a question here?
Yeah, please.
Rahul, like there is no way to do the migration from SAP ECC to on-premises, then from on-premises to cloud?
No, there is no direct migration conversion from on-premise to the cloud. That's what I'm telling here. You have to do the deployment options with the SaaS application, then you can go with. So you have to go with a greenfield implementation process, not as a conversion process.
Yeah, for the migration, but not the conversion, but we can do the migration to the SaaS, right?
SaaS, you can do that after that.
Yeah, with the greenfield, because greenfield implementation is something different, which comes as a totally different. But if we want to go from on-premises to SaaS, then we can go. Right?
That is option. That I can do the tools and I can do the conversion. But directly I'm talking about from ECC to the new 3 applications I'm talking here.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, then I can give another deployment option, which is going to be called as another transition scenario. We are going to be calling it as a greenfield implementation. In the greenfield implementation, either it can be the new customer or an existing customer. If I go with the greenfield implementation, either you can start your journey with on-premise, either you can start the journey with a public cloud or a private cloud, or you can start your journey with your hybrid. So because this is a completely option 3 deployment options I'm going to be giving called as a greenfield implementation, you can choose your on-premise, you can choose your cloud, or you can choose your hybrid process over here. This is completely greenfield implementation. And here we are in the process of the greenfield implementation. So here we are going to be following a new methodology over here. Yes. By this time, most of the people, okay, when you have worked in the greenfield implementation, you know about what is the ASAP methodology. ASAP methodology. Okay, so ASAP methodology we are going to be, this is called as accelerated SAP methodology we are going to be using for the greenfield implementation in ECC process. In ECC process, so we have 5 phases. One is called as the project preparation, business blueprint, realization, final preparation, and go live and support. When you talk about your ASAP methodology. Now, in today's environment of SAP S4HANA implementation projects, so we are going to be using the new methodology called as Activate. We are going to be using the new methodology called as Activate methodology. There are 2 processes there. One is called as waterfall methodology. Another one is the agile process. So 99.9% people will go with agile process. Waterfall methodology, it's not up to the success mark what the SAP has been expected actually. So there are some documentations are there from my side. I'll give some documentation. You can go through the documentation about what is the waterfall and what is the agile process. So when we step down to the activate methodology, so we normally we use the agile process. So now the activate methodology is the new SAP S4HANA methodology we are going for any greenfield implementation process. Here also we have some phases over here: discovery, prepare, explore, realize, and deploy. So here we have the different phases are there. Okay, we call it as a discovery. Discover, okay, prepare. Oh, sorry. Explore, realize, and run. We can call it as a run process. What to do? Okay, so discover, prepare, explore, realize, and run. These are the phases we are going to be running on with SAP S4HANA greenfield implementation. So we are going to discuss something about the roadmap and everything in the process of your SAP S4HANA with the greenfield implementation process, in the activate process, and the comparing with your SAP methodology. So now, when a customer they want to start a journey as a greenfield process, so either he can choose on to the on-premise, either you can choose on to the cloud. And as I told you that in the cloud there are two versions are there. One is going to be called as the private cloud, another one is going to be called as the public cloud. So I told you, okay, because we have a separate class in the on-premise, differentiating between the cloud, I'll give some differentiation points between the on-premise and the cloud also, so in the coming classes. And the third one, you can either go on to the hybrid process also. Hybrid is the combination of both on-premise and the cloud. Hybrid is a combination of both on-premise and the cloud. So we have two digital processes when you come to the SAP S4HANA world. One is called as the digital core, and the second one is the digital innovation. So digital innovation, you know that, okay, IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, okay, big database, these all will come under the digital innovation process in SAP S4HANA. And the digital cloud process is nothing but you can have the integration with cloud components. See, for example, this is my SAP S4HANA on-premise. Example I'm taking, this is my SAP S4HANA on-premise. Now, there are some cloud components are there. We can call it as, there are some cloud components, we call them as SAP Ariba, that is going to be called as SAP Ariba, SAP Success Factors, and SAP Hybris. Hybris is mostly for the sales and services. Okay, we have cloud components. So we can't, so for the material recruitment processing, we call it as Ariba. And we have one more, we have different, so many other, but here I'm going to be giving success factors. And we have the Concur. Concur is travel, okay, related to the travel. We have the Hybris, okay, we have many things. Now, your SAP S4HANA on-premise can have a direct interface with your Ariba, or either to the success factor, or either to your Concur, or that is Concur, or the some other cloud applications are also there. So you can have the integration. So completely, we can talk it as a digital code process for your SAP S4HANA on-premise or the cloud. And the digital innovations, I'll take you to the screenshots and everything about. So when you put together about all these things, so it's a world, it's an SAP S4HANA world. It is a very big world into the SAP world. So where we are going to be knowing about the different application process which are going to be running onto the SAP S4HANA on-premise. So when I go into the SAP S4HANA on-premise, if I go into the SAP S4HANA on-premise, so if I talk about here, you can see the difference here. So in 1972, we came out with R2 architecture. This is the mainframe architecture. And 1993, we came out with R3 architecture. And okay, so the 2004, we came out with an SAP ERP. And 2015, we came out with SAP S4HANA. So this is the tomorrow's class. Okay, we are going to discuss about the journey from the SAP HANA to SAP S4HANA. So what is SAP HANA database? Why we call it as SAP in-memory platform? What is the SAP business warehouse powered by SAP HANA? What is this SAP business suite powered by SAP HANA, and what are the advantages? What is this OLAP and OLTP? OLAP is nothing but online analytical process, and OLTP is nothing but online transactional process. Tomorrow's class is going to be very important for us. And here, when you come to here, Yeah, this is my, if you see my, from the 1610 I'm talking here. This slide will explain you from the process from the 1610. This is completely, we can call it as SAP S/4HANA digital core process, not a digital innovation. It is called as a completely digital core process. You can see here in one application, you can see several components are there here. This is one application of your SAP S/4HANA 1610. Later we came out with 17.1 and 18.1 in the same process we are running. So this is what exactly we call it as a digital core. You can see here, digital core process, we call it as the enterprise management. Enterprise management. Now, for example, I'll take you one example now. Okay, now I'll take you one example called as, okay, SAP S/4HANA. When you take about Hybris, Hybris is nothing but, which we are going to be calling it as a okay, cloud for sales. Actually, we call it as a cloud for sales, and we have a Hybris for the S/4HANA cloud for the marketing also. S/4HANA for the marketing. In the same way, we have the Ariba, we have the Fieldglass. Fieldglass is nothing but which is related to your SAP human resource, and we have the success factor. So your core application component means your SAP core application component is running on with S4 core. S4 core is nothing but your SAP core application. But on the top of it, I see there are some cloud applications are getting integrated with your SAP S/4HANA human resource. Means success factor and the Fieldglass. And if you see from the sales point of view, SAP S/4HANA sales, you can see you have integrated with your Hybris. The product is nothing but you're working on with your SAP S/4HANA sales. But on the top of it, you are integrated with third-party cloud. Means you are integrated with a third-party cloud application called as S4 Hybris. So if you see this diagram, if you see this particular diagram, this is what exactly I can call it as the enterprise management digital core. In this digital core, we have SAP S/4HANA finance, we have SAP S/4HANA human resource, we have procurement, we have the manufacturing, supply chain, and everything we have. But this is going to be called as traditional licensing mode. We can call it as a traditional. There is a two licensing modes are there: perceptual license and the traditional licensing mode. Means if you want to start the journey with SAP S/4HANA as an on-premise, you should have to take a license of each and every component with a different licensing mode. So if I want to start, you can start out with any component first. It is not a mandatory that I should need all these components should be installed. No, you can start your journey with SAP S/4HANA finance, and later on you can go and add on what are all the components which is going to be required as per your line of business, LOB. We can call it as a LOB, as per your line of business. What are all the components has to be required for the licensing for to run onto the business. You can later on go and add on what are the components which are going to be required. So SAP S/4HANA finance is one of the component, and most of you have also seen that SAP S/4HANA 1605. I think most of you have seen about this component also. 1605 SAP S/4HANA. This is SAP. This is only related to the finance. This release is only related. 1605 is the release. Talking about only to the financial component. Actually, earlier we have the SAP Simple Finance. I think most of you know that in 2014, 2015, early stages of 2015, we know about the word called SAP Simple Finance. Now there is no Simple Finance. Okay, we call it as SAP Simple Finance, and we have the SAP Simple Logistics actually. Simple Finance and the Simple Logistics with 1503. With 1503 earlier. I'll take out all this journey. Okay, so in the, because I just know I told about this slide. So in this slide we are going to discuss all these things. So in this slide here we are going to discuss this point will come over here. SAP Simple Finance powered by SAP HANA. We are going to discuss more into the detailed way about this process over here when we come to this particular slide. So we have the SAP Simple Finance and the Simple Logistics earlier in SAP before SAP S/4HANA has came into the world of SAP environment. So most of the clients have started the journey with Simple Finance. It is an add-on on the top of your SAP ECC. It is the add-on on the top of it. Is not a new application. It is an add-on application which is built on the top of your SAP ECC application. Then the successor of 1503, the successor of Simple Finance where we are going to be talking. The successor of Simple Finance. Now we are talking it as SAP 1605. SAP 1605 is the successor of SAP Simple Finance. So now, my dear friends, I'm telling, don't call your SAP S4HANA Simple Finance, please. Don't. By the God's sake, I'm telling, now the Simple Finance is no more available in the market. It has lapsed. It has lapsed now. We are into the SAP S4HANA. We are not learning the course curriculum of Simple Finance. We are learning the course curriculum of SAP S4HANA Finance, which is one of the component, which is one of your component in your SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA. We are going to learn about the component of SAP S4HANA Finance. Like this, we have several components on this. So this putting all together is called as the digital core. Digital core. Digital core is nothing but one of your component is integrating with your cloud component. One of your component sales is integrating with your hybrids. One of your component is integrating with the affiliate. This is called as the digital core. Digital innovation, as I told you that it has came out from 1709. Digital core has came out from the 1709. So IoT, Internet of Things, okay, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science, big database, these all will come under the digital innovations. Now, SAP S4HANA is the combination of digital core and digital innovation from today onwards. So this is the overview process today. This is completely on the overview about a customer, whether they can start out the journey with SAP ECC or SAP S4HANA, whether I want to go with SAP S4HANA, whether I can go with SAP S4HANA on-premise or the cloud or the hybrid. So this is about the session here. So you got, now everybody has got some idea about what is how the SAP S4HANA is going to work for a particular customer. Any doubts?
Yeah, Praveen here. I have a question.
Praveen here.
Okay, so when I say like database migration from GCC to meaning the
SAP HANA.
Yeah, SAP S4 HANA suite.
No. When you're calling it as a migration, you're talking about the DB. When you're calling it as a conversion, you're talking from the application.
Yeah, but is it like I am still on the GCC application, but my database is SAP S4 HANA suite? So
you are in the ECC application, sir?
Yeah, but my database is the SAP S4 HANA suite.
No. See, here the confusion here going to be, sir, I'll tell you here, SAP ECC and SAP S4 HANA, both are going to be called as applications, sir. These are called as applications. Okay. So when I call it as SAP HANA, means it is a database. So when you are on SAP ECC, sir, with any other database, forget about your SAP HANA database. Because tomorrow there is a class on SAP HANA also. I'm going to discuss because I told you one diagram. Okay. So we have SAP HANA as a database. So when the existing customer, when they want to migrate the Oracle database to the new database as an SAP HANA, yes, we call it as the SAP migration. That is SAP DB migration from SAP, that is from the Oracle database to SAP HANA database. But when you're talking from the conversion point of view, if you see my diagram here, the middle one, if you see the conversion process means, you can see the conversion is happening from ECC to the core application of S4 core, not to the database here. So this is what we should be very clear in making the understanding. So HANA is a database, S4 HANA is a nothing but your application. Clear, sir?
Yeah, I got that point. But when it comes to the database, like, see, when we are in a GCC, okay, that we are GCC is an application, okay, and the database is some other database.
Okay.
But from that database, we are moving to the SAP HANA database.
Okay.
So you told the 3 points there, right? Like whether you are on a SAP S4 HANA suite or SAP, okay, like a business suite.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so my confusion, like, okay, still I'm in a GCC, but my database is SAP S4 HANA. So is that, I mean, is that somewhere correlated, or is it like GCC application also need to move to the
No.
S4?
It's not a mandate that by 2024-25, all the ECC customers has to be get converted to the SAP S4. That is the SAP press release actually. So till 25, so you can work on with SAP ECC application with SAP HANA as a database.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah, we call it as a SAP Business Suite on HANA now.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. So tomorrow is very, very important class for us. So I want everybody to get presented tomorrow class, because tomorrow we are starting with the basics of HANA database, and we are starting the journey till SAP S4 HANA. So I want everybody to get presented in the class. So
Mahesh, one question. This is
yes,
Jay.
sir.
Yes, I'm wondering what is the S4? What does the 4 stand for?
Okay, 4 is the nothing, what is the 4th generation actually. We call it as the 4th generation application programming.
Okay. So first generation was
that we have seen about that is what we say, that is Microsoft, that is we call it as a IBM mainframes.
Okay, you're talking about R2, R3.
Exactly. Now we are into the 4th generation now.
Okay. I get the point. Okay, thanks very much.
Now, when you take your iPhone, sir, which generation we are standing on the iPhone now? iPhone has come out with several releases. Now the iPhone generation, we are running out with the 6th generation now.
Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Okay.
If you go and look into the iOS application, you can see that the 6th generation iOS application is running on your iPhone.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, all of you. Okay. Take care.